Ladies and gentlemen, the world you're living in is not safe. Not for your mind, not for your peace, not for your soul. Every day, someone or something is trying to shake you, to make you doubt yourself, to pull you off balance, to make you afraid. But listen carefully. Strength isn't about avoiding danger. It's about becoming the kind of person that danger can't break. Because when the world turns cold, chaotic, and cruel, you either crumble or you rise unshakable. In a world that constantly tests your strength, your courage, and your very sense of who you are, there comes a time when you have to decide what kind of person you will be when everything around you starts to shake. Because let's face it, this world is dangerous. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Every single day you're exposed to fear, chaos, manipulation, and uncertainty. And if you're not anchored in who you are, this world will swallow you whole. Staying unshakable isn't about pretending the danger doesn't exist. It's about building yourself so solidly that no matter what comes, you remain grounded. You see, strength isn't born in comfort. It's forged in fire. You don't discover what you're made of when life is easy. You discover it when everything you counted on starts to fall apart. When you're betrayed, when you lose, when you fail, when you're pushed to the edge, that's when you learn whether your foundation is real or just something you talk about. The first step to staying unshakable is mastering your mind. Everything begins there. The world can't control you unless it first controls your thoughts. Every fear, every doubt, every hesitation, they all start in your head. So when life tries to intimidate you, when people try to manipulate you through fear, the most powerful thing you can do is stand still. Breathe. Don't react. Respond. That pause, that control, is what separates the strong from the weak. Because people who are easily triggered are easily controlled. But when you master your emotions, no one owns you. And let me be clear, being unshakable doesn't mean being emotionless. It means you feel everything, but you don't let those feelings dictate your behavior. You can be scared and still move forward. You can be hurt and still hold your composure. You can feel rage boiling inside you and still choose to act with discipline. And that's real power. The power to feel without falling apart. You live in a time where fear is used as currency. Media, politics, social platforms, they all know one thing. A fearful person is a controllable person. When people are scared, they stop thinking critically. They start looking for safety instead of truth. And that's how you lose your freedom, one fear at a time. So if you want to be unshakable, you must be intentional about what you allow into your mind. Protect it like it's sacred because it is. Guard your focus. Be selective with what you consume. Discipline yourself to choose clarity over noise. Another key to staying unshakable is self-reliance. You can't depend on the world to make you feel safe. You can't expect someone else to come rescue you every time life gets hard. No one is coming. You are your own rescue. You are your own security. And the moment you take full ownership of that truth, something changes inside you. You stop waiting. You start preparing. You stop wishing. You start building. Because strength doesn't come from hoping the storm will pass. It comes from learning how to stand firm in the middle of it. Train your body. Train your mind, train your spirit. Be so capable that fear starts to lose its grip on you. When you know you can handle what comes, fear becomes irrelevant. Learn self-defense, sharpen your awareness, and develop the ability to stay calm under pressure. The more prepared you are, the less power fear has over you. Confidence is not arrogance, it's quiet readiness. It's knowing you've done the work. The world is filled with people who look strong until pressure hits. Then you see who's real and who's pretending. Being unshakable means you refuse to be one of those people. It means when chaos hits, you don't crumble. You adapt. You don't panic. You assess. You don't lash out. You act with intention. Because the truth is, dang, it isn't always physical. Sometimes the most dangerous situations are emotional. The betrayal of someone you trusted, the loss of something you loved, the attack on yourself. Worth, and those moments can destroy you from the inside if you let them. But when you build internal armor, discipline, integrity, purpose, nothing can destroy you. People can wound you, life can break your heart, but your spirit remains unshaken because you've anchored it in something deeper than circumstance. You've decided who you are before the world had a chance to tell you otherwise. To stay unshakable, you must also stop needing approval, because the need to be liked, to be accepted, to be validated, that's weakness disguised as connection, and it makes you vulnerable to manipulation. The moment someone senses that you crave their approval, they own you. You start compromising your values to keep peace, staying silent when you should speak, agreeing when your gut says no. That's how people lose themselves, slowly, quietly, piece by piece. You can't stay unshakable if your sense of worth depends on other people's opinions. You have to reach a point where you can stand alone and still be at peace. When you can say no without guilt, when you can walk away without resentment, when you can be misunderstood and still remain true to yourself, that's real freedom. Because being unshakable isn't about what you show others. It's about what you know about yourself when no one's watching. You also need to develop a warrior's calm, the kind of calm that doesn't come from avoiding conflict, but from being ready for it. Life will test you through loss, betrayal, failure, and fear. But calmness in chaos is the mark of mastery. You don't need to be the loudest or the toughest person in the room. You just need to be the one who doesn't flinch when things go wrong. People respect that. Energy respects that. Even chaos respects that. And here's the truth. Strength isn't built overnight. It's built in the small choices you make every day. It's built in how you talk to yourself, how you handle stress, how you show up when it would be easier to quit. Every moment is training. Every challenge is shaping you. The world might be dangerous, but it's also your greatest teacher. Because every obstacle you face is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more disciplined than you were yesterday. Stop thinking of fear as something to avoid. Fear is information. It tells you where you need to grow. When you feel it, don't run from it. Study it. Ask yourself what it's trying to teach you. Maybe it's telling you to prepare more, to trust yourself more, to let go of something that's keeping you small. Use fear as fuel. That's how warriors think. That's how survivors rise. And never underestimate the power of purpose. People who know why they're standing are harder to knock down. Purpose gives you direction when everything else is uncertain. When you know what you're fighting for, your family, your values, your mission, you stop being easily shaken. The world can threaten you, but it can't move you. Because purpose roots you deeper than fear can reach. So build your mind like a fortress. Build your spirit like steel. Train your emotions like a weapon, controlled, precise, and powerful. You can't control this world, but you can control how you move through it. You can't predict danger, but you can prepare for it. You can't stop fear from coming, but you can make sure it finds no weakness when it arrives. When the world tests you, and it will, remember this. Being unshakable doesn't mean life gets easier. It means you get stronger. It means when others are breaking down, you're standing tall. When others are looking for rescue, you're taking command. When others are lost in chaos, you're moving with clarity. Because you've already decided, no matter how dangerous this world becomes, you will not be broken. You will not be silenced. You will not be shaken. And when you reach that level of strength, you start to notice something incredible. Peace. The kind of peace that doesn't depend on your environment, on who likes you, or on whether everything is going right. It's the peace that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you can handle it. You stop trying to control every outcome because you finally understand that control doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. When your mind is calm, you see things clearly. You start noticing the truth behind people's actions, the motives behind their words, and the traps that once fooled you. That's the gift of being unshakable, clarity. The world wants you to react. It feeds on your chaos. It wants you distracted, emotional, impulsive, because people who are reactive are predictable. But the person who is steady, who moves with intention, who doesn't flinch when provoked, that person is powerful. You can't manipulate calm. You can't control stillness. That's why being unshakable isn't about fighting every battle. It's about mastering which ones are even worth your energy. Sometimes strength is not in striking back. It's in walking away with dignity. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You don't have to explain your piece. The strongest people are often misunderstood because they've stopped seeking approval. They've realized that validation is just another form of control. When you no longer need it, you become free in a way most people will never experience. Freedom is being able to say, I know who I am, and no one can take that from me. But to get there, You must go through the uncomfortable stages of transformation. You'll lose people. You'll outgrow environments. You'll stop fitting in with groups that once felt like home. And it will hurt. Growth always does. But every time you let go of something that no longer serves your highest purpose, you're strengthening your foundation. You're making space for better. Don't resist the shedding. It's part of becoming unshakable. Most people want strength without struggle, confidence without rejection, courage without fear. But that's not how it works. The very things you're trying to avoid are the things that build your character. Every challenge, every disappointment, every betrayal, it's refining you. Life isn't punishing you, it's preparing you to stand taller, to speak with conviction, to move through danger without losing yourself. And when I say danger, I don't just mean physical threats. The modern world is filled with invisible dangers, manipulation disguised as kindness, distractions disguised as comfort, opinions disguised as truth. You are constantly being pulled away from yourself, and if you're not intentional, you'll wake up one day realizing that you've built a life that doesn't even feel like yours. That's why self-awareness is your shield. Know your values, your boundaries, and your non-negotiables. Because once you define those, the world can't easily pull you off course. Being unshakable means you hold your line. You can listen, you can observe, but you don't absorb everything. You have emotional filters. You don't take every insult personally, every problem emotionally, or every disagreement as an attack. You develop the ability to separate what's real from what's noise. When someone tries to project their fear or insecurity onto you, you recognize it for what it is, a reflection of them, not a definition of you. And that takes practice. Every day you'll be tested. Someone will try to provoke you. Something will try to disturb your peace. A situation will arise that demands patience when all you want is control. But these are not setbacks, they're strength tests. The world is not attacking you, it's training you. And if you shift your mind and set to see it that way, every challenge becomes an opportunity to refine your composure. Learn to carry yourself like someone who doesn't break easily. Let your presence speak louder than your words. There's a certain kind of quiet power in a person who doesn't overreact, who doesn't overshare, who doesn't need to prove anything. That's the power of self-mastery. And it's rare because it requires discipline. It requires doing the inner work, reflecting, confronting your flaws, healing your triggers, letting go of resentment. None of that is easy, but it's what makes your foundation solid. People will try to shake you through criticism. They'll question your choices, your motives, your worth. But when you've built yourself from the inside out, their opinions lose their weight. You can hear them without absorbing them. You can acknowledge them without being defined by them. That's when you know you've grown. You stop internalizing other people's chaos. Staying unshakable in a dangerous world also means mastering detachment, not from life, but from outcomes. When you attach your peace to results, you become fragile, because results are unpredictable. Sometimes you'll give your best and still lose. Sometimes you'll do everything right and still get hurt. But when your peace comes from knowing you did your part with integrity, you stop chasing outcomes, you start embracing process. You realize that your value doesn't fluctuate with wins or losses. You're steady, you're constant. And here's something people rarely talk about. Being unshakable requires compassion, not the kind that makes you weak or naive, but the kind that keeps your heart soft while your mind stays sharp. Because in this world, it's easy to become cold. When you've been hurt enough times, betrayed enough times, you start to build walls. But those walls that protect you can also isolate you. The goal is not to become hard, it's to become discerning, to see clearly without losing empathy, to stay kind without becoming a fool. Kindness with boundaries, that's power. Compassion with wisdom, that's strength. When you understand this balance, you become unstoppable. You stop wasting energy on proving points or fighting unnecessary battles. You move with purpose, not impulse, and that's what makes you unshakable. Also, don't underestimate the power of stillness. The world glorifies noise. Everyone's talking, posting, reacting, performing. But true strength lives in stillness. It's in that quiet space where you think clearly, connect with yourself, and align with your values. Make time for silence. Make time to listen, to your intuition, to your instincts, to that inner voice that knows what's right for you even when the world disagrees. Because intuition is your internal compass in a world full of confusion. Trust it. Train it. It will guide you through danger more effectively than fear ever could. And when life hits you hard, and it will, remember that you've survived worse. You've already walked through storms that once terrified you. You've already faced losses that you thought would destroy you. And yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still rising. That alone proves your strength. Don't forget that when the next wave hits. You're not starting from weakness, you're operating from experience. Every scar is proof that you can endure. People often confuse being unshakable with being fearless. But that's not the same thing. Fearlessness is the absence of fear. Unshakability is mastery over it. It's saying, yes, I'm scared, but I move anyway. It's courage in motion. And the more you practice that, the stronger your resilience becomes. You start trusting yourself more. You stop seeking guarantees and start embracing risk, because you know that whatever happens, you'll adapt, adjust, and overcome. You were not made to crumble under pressure. You were made to rise through it. Every trial, every setback, every betrayal, it's all refining you for something greater. The dangerous world you live in doesn't just expose weakness, it reveals strength. It separates those who talk about courage from those who live it. And if you choose, you can be among the few who stand tall no matter what storm hits. So keep your mind sharp, your heart steady, your purpose clear. Don't let fear make your decisions. Don't let other people's noise drown out your truth. You are stronger than the chaos around you. The world may be unpredictable, but you don't have to be. Let your consistency be your weapon. Let your composure be your armor. Let your discipline be your edge. Because in a dangerous world, the calmest one in the room is always the most powerful. And as you continue to evolve into this version of yourself that can no longer be shaken by the world, something remarkable starts to happen. You stop seeing danger as something to fear and start seeing it as something to understand. Because when you understand danger, you stop reacting emotionally to it. You begin to see patterns. You see how people manipulate through fear, how systems thrive on confusion, how chaos is used as a distraction. You start to operate on a higher frequency, aware, alert, but never afraid. Awareness becomes your armor, and when you see clearly, nothing catches you off guard. But awareness requires honesty, brutal honesty with yourself. You have to face the parts of you that are still afraid, still uncertain, still clinging to comfort. You have to be willing to look at your weaknesses without judgment, because pretending to be strong is not strength, it's denial. Real power comes from acknowledging your fears, then training yourself to rise above them. It's about saying, yes, this scares me, but I will not let it control me. That level of honesty will humble you, but it will also free you. You can't be unshakable while living in illusion. You can't build confidence on top of avoidance. Every day is a test. Every interaction, every challenge, every moment of uncertainty is a chance to practice staying grounded. When someone disrespects you, that's not just conflict. It's an opportunity to reinforce your boundaries. When life doesn't go as planned, it's not rejection, it's redirection. Every difficult situation is asking you one question. Will you remain centered, or will you let this pull you off balance? The answer to that question determines your power. Being unshakable means being consistent with your values even when emotions tempt you to do otherwise. It's easy to stay calm when everyone is kind to you. It's easy to stay strong when life is predictable. But the real measure of strength is how you carry yourself when nothing goes your way, when people lie about you, when opportunities fall apart, when you're alone and unsure. That's where your foundation is tested. And if you've built it on truth, not approval, you'll stand firm every single time. You'll also learn that being unshakable means embracing solitude, because solitude is where strength grows. It's where you hear your own thoughts without the noise of others. It's where you recharge and realign. Too many people are afraid to be alone because silence forces them to confront themselves. But those who master solitude become dangerous, not because they seek harm, but because they no longer depend on anyone else for peace. When you can find calm in isolation, the world loses its leverage over you. The dangerous world we live in will always try to keep you distracted. It wants you chasing trends, comparing yourself to others, losing sight of your purpose. Because as long as you're distracted, you're controllable. When you focus, when you narrow your attention to what truly matters, you become unstoppable. Focus is power. It cuts through the noise like a blade. When you know what you stand for and what you're working toward, you stop entertaining nonsense. You stop wasting time proving your worth to people who could never recognize it. And that brings another truth. Not everyone will understand your strength. Some will mistake your calmness for coldness. Others will resent your independence because it mirrors their own weakness. Don't take it personally. When people can't control you, they'll try to discredit you. When they can't shake your peace, they'll call you distant. But that's part of the price of power. You can't be unshakable and universally liked at the same time. Choose peace over popularity. Choose purpose over perception. It's not about being perfect. It's about being prepared. Preparation gives you confidence. When you've practiced discipline, when you've trained your body, mind, and emotions, you carry yourself differently. You stop moving with fear because you know you've already put in the work. Preparation silences anxiety because it gives you evidence. You can't control every outcome, but you can control your readiness. You can control how you respond when the unexpected happens, and that kind of control is priceless. Another thing about being unshakable, your energy becomes sacred. You stop giving it away to things that drain you. You start recognizing emotional thieves, people who thrive on drama, on chaos, on negativity, and you learn to distance yourself without guilt. Because not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone earns the right to know your thoughts or your plans. The more grounded you become, the more selective you must be. Protect your energy like it's currency, because it is. And once you start investing it wisely, your life begins to change dramatically. Resilience is not about how many hits you can take. It's about how fast you can recover. It's about training your mind to bounce back. After every setback, you will fall, you will fail. But what defines you is how quickly you get back up. When life knocks you down, take a moment, breathe, gather yourself, and rise with more wisdom than before. Every failure carries a lesson, and those lessons are the stepping stones to mastery. You don't become unshakable by avoiding pain, you become unshakable by learning from it. Remember that growth isn't glamorous. It's uncomfortable, it's lonely, it's often misunderstood. People will question why you've changed, why you've become quieter, more disciplined, more distant. They'll think you've become cold, but you're not cold. You're focused. You're no longer feeding the same distractions. You're building something within yourself that most people never take the time to build. You're learning to stay calm in storms, steady under pressure, and composed in chaos. That's the kind of growth the world doesn't celebrate, but it's the kind that transforms you completely. And when you carry that level of composure, you start influencing others without even trying. Your presence itself becomes grounding. People will feel safer around you because you don't panic, because you think clearly, because you move with purpose. And that's a rare energy. In a world that's constantly reacting, the person who remains steady becomes the anchor for others. But remember, your role isn't to save everyone. You can be the example, but each person must do their own work. Don't drain yourself trying to hold up people who refuse to stand. Lead by presence, not by pressure. Danger doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it comes disguised as comfort. The relationships that make you small, the habits that numb your potential, the routines that keep you stuck, those are silent dangers. They don't attack you directly. They slowly weaken you until you forget how powerful you are. Being unshakable means identifying those subtle forms of danger and refusing to tolerate them. It means setting higher standards, not just for others, but for yourself. And yes, it takes courage to walk away from comfort. It takes courage to say, this isn't enough for me anymore. But the more you honor your growth, the stronger your confidence becomes. You stop shrinking to fit into places that no longer match your evolution. You stop apologizing for your standards. You start walking with quiet certainty, knowing that your worth doesn't need validation. It's already established. When the world gets darker, your light must grow stronger. And that light doesn't come from pretending everything's okay. It comes from resilience, from awareness, from the decision to rise no matter how many times you're pushed down. Every challenge is a chance to practice composure. Every setback is a reminder to trust your training. Every obstacle is shaping you into someone who cannot be broken. You'll know you've reached that level when chaos no longer excites you, when peace feels more powerful than attention, and when your silence carries more weight than your words. That's not arrogance, that's mastery. You've learned to control what truly matters, your mind, your energy, your response, and once you own those, nothing outside you can shake you again. Every single day, remind yourself that strength is a choice, peace is a discipline, courage is a practice. The dangerous world around you will not get easier, but you will get sharper, wiser, and calmer. That's how you win, not by avoiding the storm, but by becoming the storm's calm center. Because the world doesn't need more loud voices, it needs more steady ones. The world doesn't need more reactors, it needs more thinkers. And you have that wise, thin you. The ability to stand tall, to stay grounded, and to remain unshaken no matter what comes. And as you continue walking this path of becoming unshakable, you'll begin to notice how your relationship with fear evolves. It no longer paralyzes you, it informs you. It becomes a signal, not a stop sign. When you feel it rise inside you, you no longer panic. You listen. You ask, what is this trying to show me? What is it revealing about what I still need to strengthen? That awareness transforms fear from an enemy into an ally. It sharpens your intuition and teaches you to anticipate instead of react. You start to understand that fear isn't a limitation, it's a teacher. The difference between those who grow and those who crumble is simple. The strong use fear to focus. The weak let fear decide for them. Every dangerous environment, whether it's the chaos of the world, a toxic workplace, or a manipulative relationship, tests the same thing: your ability to stay centered. The people who thrive in these conditions aren't the ones who fight the hardest. They're the ones who stay calm the longest. When you refuse to be emotionally dragged into every battle, you maintain clarity. And clarity in a chaotic world is power. It lets you see options others can't see. It helps you move strategically instead of impulsively. The ability to remain calm under pressure is not something you're born with. It's trained. It's built through small moments of discipline. Every time you choose composure over chaos, restraint over reaction, patience over panic, you're conditioning yourself to stay unshakable. So when the real storms come, you don't fall apart. You've already trained for it. The calm you build in quiet moments becomes the strength you rely on in crisis. Being unshakable doesn't mean you stop feeling pain. It means you learn to carry it differently. Pain will always come. It's part of being human. But instead of letting it break you, you use it as fuel. You learn to transmute it into drive, into purpose, into growth. The most powerful people you'll ever meet aren't the ones who've avoided pain. They're the ones who've walked through it and built something powerful out of it. They've turned wounds into wisdom. That's what true resilience looks like. And resilience isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about acknowledging the storm while keeping your focus on the direction you're headed. It's about knowing that even when life shakes your foundation, it can't take away what's already rooted deep inside you. The world may strip away your comforts, your routines, even your sense of control, but it can't touch your will. That's your core. That's what makes you unshakable. You have to train your inner dialogue because your mind is the most dangerous battlefield you'll ever face. The world outside may challenge you, but the voice inside you determines whether you rise or fall. Watch that voice carefully. It can become your greatest ally or your worst enemy. When it starts whispering doubt, silence it with action. When it starts feeding fear, counter it with preparation. When it starts questioning your worth, remind it of what you've already survived. Self-talk isn't just motivation, it's strategy. The person who masters their inner voice becomes unstoppable because they're no longer held hostage by their own thoughts. Being unshakable means you no longer depend on ideal conditions to function. You operate at a high standard no matter what's happening around you. Whether people support you or not, whether circumstances favor you or not, you move forward anyway. That's discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when emotion tells you otherwise. And the more disciplined you become, the less unpredictable the world feels. Because instead of waiting for motivation, you move from principle. And you need those principles, your personal code. Because when the world becomes unpredictable, principles are what keep you steady. Honor, integrity, courage, respect, compassion, those are not just nice words. They are anchors. They keep you from being swayed by trends, manipulation, or fear. When you know your code, decisions become simpler. You no longer waste energy debating what's right. You already know. And when you act from that place, your confidence grows naturally because you're living in alignment with truth. But make no mistake, Your strength will be misunderstood. Some will see your calmness as arrogance, your silence as weakness, your boundaries as cruelty. That's the nature of a reactive world. It doesn't understand stillness. Don't let that bother you. The opinions of those who haven't done the inner work will never define the one who has. You owe no explanation for your peace. Let people misjudge you. Your results will speak louder. Being unshakable also means mastering adaptability. Rigidity breaks, flexibility endures. Life will not always go as planned, and if you cling too tightly to how things should be, you'll suffer. The strong know how to pivot. They can change direction without losing purpose. They adjust strategy without compromising values. Adaptability isn't weakness, it's survival. It's intelligence in motion. You can't control the wind, but you can always adjust your sails. One of the most powerful traits of an unshakable person is emotional neutrality. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you don't let emotions dictate your logic. You can observe your feelings without being enslaved by them. You can listen to anger without letting it control your acts. You can experience fear without letting it freeze you. That kind of control makes you unpredictable to anyone trying to manipulate you. They can't provoke you because you don't operate from impulse. You operate from awareness. To build that awareness, you need self-observation. Notice what triggers you, what drains you, what energizes you. Every reaction reveals something about your internal wiring. The goal isn't to suppress emotions, it's to understand them. Once you understand why you react a certain way, you reclaim control. You stop living on autopilot. You start choosing your responses consciously. And choice is freedom. You'll realize that not every battle deserves your effort. Sometimes walking away is the strongest move you can make. When you're unshakable, you don't waste energy on proving points or winning meaningless arguments. You conserve your strength for what truly matters. You don't fight for attention, you fight for growth. You don't chase validation, you chase purpose. That's the difference between those who seek power and those who already possess it. You'll also learn the art of patience. In a world addicted to instant results, patience is a superpower. The person who can wait without losing focus holds a quiet dominance over those who can't. Because while others burn out chasing quick wins, you're building something lasting. You understand that real success, whether personal, professional, or spiritual, takes time. You can't rush strength, you have to earn it. Brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. And as you build it, you begin to develop an inner calm that no one can fake. You can walk into a room full of chaos and remain composed because you've trained yourself to see through the noise. You can sense tension and choose not to feed it. You can face adversity and still move with grace. That's not weakness, it's emotional mastery. You've stopped being reactive to life and started being deliberate with it. Understand this, an unshakable person doesn't seek control over others. They seek control over themselves. That's where real power lies. Because when you can regulate your emotions, when you can stay calm in confrontation, when you can think clearly in danger, you instantly gain an advantage. Most people panic, freeze, or lash out. You don't. You move with precision. You speak with authority. You decide with purpose. That's the mindset of someone who leads, not follows. The truth is, the dangerous world we live in will always test you. But those tests aren't here to destroy you. They're here to expose what still needs strengthening. They reveal the gaps in your armor, the weaknesses in your mindset. So instead of resenting the tests, learn from them. Let every challenge refine you. Let every mistake humble you. Let every loss teach you. Because all of it, every painful, frustrating, difficult moment, is shaping you into something unbreakable. And as your resilience deepens, you'll start to notice the shift. The things that once terrified you no longer hold power. The situations that once triggered you now feel manageable. The people who once intimidated you now look smaller, not because they've changed, but because you've grown. You've built an internal world so strong that the external one can't shake it. That's the essence of being unshakable, not living without fear or pain, but being so deeply grounded in who you are that nothing can move you from your center. So you continue standing tall, not because life is easy, but because you've chosen to master it. You've chosen to live with awareness, discipline, and calm. You've chosen strength over comfort, clarity over chaos, and courage over fear. You've chosen to be unshakable, not by chance, but by deliberate design.